on our last segment is, we bring a promo that's non-wrestling related. It's not a wrestler. It's not, from WWE or AEW or Impact or any of that. So we bring something mainstream. It could be, something from the news. It could be something from TV. It could be last week we talked about Kanye West. So today it was my turn to bring one. So I've got a clip from a movie that to me is a very impactful scene of a dad cutting a promo
This
to his son.
happens. Now I'm asking you as a favor not to go through with this, okay? This is only gonna end up bad for you, and it's gonna end up bad for me.
You think I'm hurting you?
Yeah, in a way you are.
That's the last thing I ever wanted to do.
I know that's not what you want to do, but that's just the way that it is. Don't you care what people think? Doesn't it bother you that people are making you out to be a joke and that I'm gonna be included in that? Do you think that's right?
Well, you used to fit right here. I'd hold you up and say to your mother, this kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew. And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching you every day. Was like a privilege. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. And not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. I'm always gonna love you no matter what. No matter what happens. You're my son, you're my blood. But until you start believing in yourself, you ain't gonna have a life. Don't forget to visit your mother.
So obviously that's Rocky Balboa talking to his son. And
That was dope.
what's interesting about that is if you research it, that's all ad-libbed.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
And
Nice.
but beyond that, you could just feel the love he has for his son. And you think about that, the roller coaster, right? It's the beginning is a whole setup about, hey, you were this. You were such an innocent kid, and then I don't know what happened. You changed. And then he gets that intensity, but then he brings it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wraps it up with, go see your mom,
Right.
who, if you're not familiar with the movie, at
Right.
that point, his mom has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking about going and visiting her grave. But to me, it's very intense. It's very pointed. It's something that we can all learn from, every single one of us. But just feeling that love that the dad has for his son, it's a straight up promo. I mean, it really is. But
Definitely.
in a shoot style, if you will. But it's like, man, you can see how it connects. I mean, it connects with me watching it. So that would even watching that makes me want to go watch the movie
It's a
again.
great
Like I haven't
movie.
seen that movie in years. Yeah, it
There's a
really
line
is.
there that really sticks out to me, and maybe it's just I'm internalizing this in the way that I probably shouldn't, but that whole piece about no matter what, I'll still love you, and how many times I know I've heard it from my own family, and like you can do anything, but your family is going to be that consistent piece, at least your parents should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because now you go back to that movie and all the rights involved and how he doesn't own it, so his kids can't inherit the Rocky brand. They can't, any movies they make, he doesn't have a say in it anymore. But it felt like kind of this magnus opus for him, and that promo really captures that of him being that older Rocky, that doesn't have control over a lot of things anymore. Right? He's not in control of his destiny, so to speak, and he's really imparting on his son like, you have a choice, right? You have a choice in this, and I'll love you no matter what. But you're not really living.
It just gives you that feeling of those real life conversations, those hard, difficult conversations you have with family. And it can be tough, it can be challenging, but underneath it all, they're there for you. even if it's a tough, difficult conversation. And sometimes you gotta get kicked in your ass sometimes, but understand that it's love underneath all of that. And that's definitely what that scene, and more specific to this podcast, that's what that promo definitely encapsulates for sure.
And it relays that, right? So I'm going to ask you guys a question about the whole Rocky series. What is it about?
Redemption.
I would say it's the ultimate underdog story for sure, at multiple levels if you're looking throughout the entire series, because he goes from, a neighborhood Joe. He was just a pretty much a fighter. He wasn't the most talented boxer. He was a fighter, and he was the neighborhood, but the people loved him. The neighborhood loved him. They swore by this guy. And when you look on the other side, you got Apollo Creed. He's the world champion. Everyone knows about him. And it's largely due to promotion, but also his God-given talent. And then you have those two clash. And it's just that underdog story, because I want to say the final was it a draw in the first movie? I want to say, or did he officially lose that? Okay. All right. Well, I mean, he lost, but he gave a fight, and he pushed Apollo where everyone expected Apollo just to clear him out the first film.
I'm going to challenge you on something. I'm going to bring this back to wrestling in a second.
Okay.
But all the Rocky series is a love story. Now, Sylvester even said this. He said it's a love story. The only thing he's fighting for in that first movie is Adrian's approval and Adrian's love. At the end,
This is true.
he says, all I want to do is finish. All I want is for her to be proud of me. Circle that back all the way to what we just saw. What's his son looking for? His dad's approval, his dad's love. He wants to see it. It's one big love story of people seeking approval and seeking love for somebody else. It's not even about the boxing. It's not even about you're right, there's a redemption story. Yes, there's other underlying pieces, right? There's multiple layers. But when you look at the whole arc, it's a love story. What's wrestling? And I'm not saying it's a love story, but wrestling is more than just the action. 9 times out of 10, it's not even about the action. The way I relate it to a movie is what connected you to Rocky if you watched it? What had people tearing up? It ain't the fight. It's not the action scenes. It's everything else that builds up to it. And what is all of that? Those are just mini promos, lead up. Every single piece, whether it's a scene of him and Adrian, a scene of Apollo Creed going off on him in Rocky 3 saying there is no tomorrow, or whether it's Creed dying, or what we just watched with him talking to his son. That's what connects us to Rocky. It's not the fights. It's not the training. It's none of that. You see that the training takes you through certain steps to get you like, oh man, okay, right. That's the build up. But the boxing matches in that movie are secondary. It's all the promos and the lines and everything that lead up to it. And to me, that's how I'm relating it back to what we are doing. It's the promos that suck you in. It's the promos that get you in the building. It's the promos that get you to buy. It's the promos that connect you to a talent or not to a talent. Yeah, you want good matches. But at the end of the day, you didn't buy it for the match.
Right.
For the most part, the majority. There's some, yeah, I want that match. And if you think, and when people push back on that, Muhammad Ali took from wrestling.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor took from wrestling.
Definitely.
Dana White damn sure took a lot of storylines from wrestling because they know they got to suck you in a different way.
Great points, man. Definitely great points.
No, I think you encapsulated really well, and not to overuse the word tonight because I used it 1,000 times, but I think at its core, when a promo draws you in, and like Rocky Balboa does, it's the deconstruction, right? By Rocky Balboa, we've really kind of we've found the core of what a Rocky movie is, right? Where yeah, we know he's a boxer, we know he's at his end, but at its core, we're there for the person. We're there for the character, and that's what brings it back, the humanity of it, right? And that's really what at the heart of any good promo is like. Where's your humanity, right? Why should I care about who you are as a person? And I think that's what's the beauty of a promo, right? That's why we're here.
If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, look us up on socials at Suplex Dinner Club. And be sure to check out our other projects. We talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all. That's a weekly college football podcast where we don't just talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. We talk about all things college football. The Life and Times Pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have some chill conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met in my years in the hospitality industry. And of course, check out Talk 'em in the Building. That's a pro wrestling podcast where we solely focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and we pontificate on the promo. It's a fun project, and if you're a pro wrestling fan, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I would love for you to be a part of it.